Hello, back to Green-HillGaming. Share my passion for video games with the whole wide world. In this live stream, Johnny Kahn will be going online in Mortal Kombat 11 Aftermath. So sit back, relax, stay safe, but as always, and more importantly, enjoy the live stream. So this is going to be a Shah Kahn, aka Johnny Kahn, live stream. And hello, a lovely viewer who has joined the live. A big welcome to Green-HillGaming to you. How are you keeping? Enjoy my Mortal Kombat 11 Aftermath live stream where Johnny Kahn will be going online. And once again, great to have you in the live stream. Hope you are keeping well. So yeah, I hope you like Shah Kahn, because you're going to be seeing a lot of Shah Kahn in this live stream.
Shao Kahn.
Somebody has Mac Wi-Fi. Every now and again, I like to just go all out with Shah Kahn online in Mortal Kombat 11, and this is one of those times in this live stream. I mean, I have shown him many times that I'm capable of playing as other fighters like Liu Kang, Baraka, Shang Tsung, Fujin, Shiva, Robocop, and many others. But I just love myself some Shah Kahn. I love him so much I named him after me, Johnny Kahn.
Jackie Briggs.
By the way, I have a Robocop announcer activated, in case you may be wondering.
Cyber Lin Kuei assembly.
Alright, let's go. Serious mode here now. So whenever I'm fighting, I'm gonna not talk as much. I'm gonna channel my inner Johnny Kahn. There we go.
The special forces are pathetic.
We rolled Shinnok, we can take you.
Shinnok was no conqueror.
Round one, fight.
No pain, no gain.
Round two, fight. Final round, fight.
As if Jackie Briggs would be able to do that. Haha.
Fatality. Shao Kahn wins.
Hashtag BLM. Ooh, I just went there. First win of the live stream. I never tire of playing as Shao Kahn. Like, I know there's tons of other fighters in the game, and as I pointed out, I can play as quite a lot of them. I just prefer Shao Kahn. Like, he's my main. Do you know what I mean? That's the terminology used in, you know, fighting games and a lot of other games as well. Like, where there's always that one character that you lean toward. I'm sure people who play games like fucking, doesn't matter what it is, any game, like, there's going to be a character that you're going to play as the most, and Shao Kahn is that character for me.
Shao Kahn.
Oh, sorry, I wasn't talking to you, sorry. No offense. Oh. And I just said I wasn't talking to you, okay? Okay.
Johnny Cage.
I'm doing a live stream, you see. I'm doing a live stream, you see, so like, I'm just talking to my...
Retro Cage.
I'm doing a live stream. Yes. So when I talk, I ain't talking to you, you know. Hashtag world doesn't revolve around you, pal. I'm Shao Kahn, what do you expect? Ah, shut up, you snowflake. Shut up.
Round one, fight.
I'll save the day.
Haha.
I am a conqueror.
Round two, fight.
Let me show you my toys.
Final round, fight. Finish him.
Ants would say that I'm a bad boy. To kill without a reason. But bodies stuck high never gets old. Always in season.
Fatality. The Joker wins.
Ah, my opponent has left the game. Even though I was searching for the opponent anyway. Come on, next. You gotta take your losses with your wins and your wins with your losses. Also, I want to point out, a bit like my Avicii live streams, although actually all of my Avicii live streams right now, I don't have my microphone plugged in, but Mac Wi-Fi, great. You see what's amazing is like, all these players showing off their combo skills, you know, like, oh, I beat you, I'm so great, yeah, pity about your Wi-Fi, you know. But as I was saying before, I was rudely interrupted by someone's Mac Wi-Fi. I won't be doing a lot of talking when I'm actually fighting in Mortal Kombat. I mean, like, outside of the fights, like for instance now I'll talk, but not when I'm in the middle of a fight. And by the way, I had that fight won. I just, for whatever reason, didn't decide to change up the fighting style. I just got a bit too comfortable doing the leg sweep and uppercuts. So, yeah.
Shao Kahn.
Is there any way that I can just like mute the players? I can't seem to come across an option to actually turn off the microphone as well when you're actually playing online. It's just like default, like the second you put in the microphone, it's like boom, the game just instantly like presumes that you want to actually use voice chat. Maybe I want to just throw on a pair of headphones. Maybe I just want to listen to Spotify while I'm playing Mortal Kombat. Like maybe I don't want to talk to some motherfucker, like, no offense, but yeah, like the voice chat is just automatic for whatever reason.
Your power won't stop me, Liu Kang.
It's done so twice before.
Quiet, Earthrealmer.
Round one.
Yeah, quite,
Fight.
Liu Kang.
fight. Final round, fight. Finish him.
Oh, the almighty standality. Yeah, they introduced
Wins.
new finishing moves in Mortal Kombat 11. They call it standality. You just stand there like and you fucking eat it. Rematch, you little shit.
Round one, fight. Round two, fight.
Challenge a champion.
Final round, fight.
fight.
Finish him.
There we go. Never conked me out. And also,
Fatality.
a win is a win.
Shao Kahn wins.
There is no definition of a win other than win. You look at the history books, there will be a winner and there will be a loser. And I was the winner. That's what it is. People look too much at skill. People be banging on about, oh god,
Shang Tsung.
look at how amazing his combo skills are. Oh man, isn't he so good? Honestly, there's a winner and there's a loser, and that's all that matters.
Kronika's key.
You fight to win. Doesn't matter how you win. All that matters is you do. I could be clapped from start to finish,
Round one.
yeah?
Fight.
As long as I win, that's all I give a shit about. And that's all anybody should give a shit about at the end of the day.
Weak, pathetic fool.
Round two. Fight. Finish him.
Ooh.
Outworld will
Trying to go for the uppercut there for a change.
Shao Kahn wins.
See, I have two lovely viewers watching my live stream. Thank you so much for watching my Mortal Kombat 11 Aftermath live stream where Johnny Kahn is going online to kick some ass. So you're both very welcome to Green-HillGaming. Hope you're both keeping very well. And yeah, enjoy the live stream and feel free to get interactive. You can trash talk me if I'm losing. But right now I'm winning. But either way, whether you want to get interactive or not, glad to have you watching the live stream, and yeah, enjoy.
Kahn.
Battle of the Khans.
Kahn.
Purple Kahn.
Deadpool.
Purple Kahn. Purple Kahn. Love the character variations in this game. Like, whoever thought they'd see a purple Shao Kahn, like.
Round 1. Fight. Round 2. Fight. Quick power.
It's official. You suck.
You said I
Shao
can.
Kahn wins.
Nothing like a quitality. They just can't handle my might. I hope my naysayers are watching this. I'm just too good for them. Like, I don't claim to be the world's greatest Mortal Kombat player. Not at all. I don't claim to have like a perfect winning streak. Not at all. But I am good. And that motherfucker just quit. Full on quitality. Because he couldn't handle the fact that I was kicking his ass. And it doesn't matter how I'm kicking his ass. I mean, some people like to kick ass using combos non-stop. Yeah? Doesn't matter how you win. Doesn't matter what kind of style you... Some people like to play Scorpion over and over again. Some people like to play Shao Kahn over and over again. It doesn't matter how you play,
Special Forces.
as long as you play to
Desert
win.
Command.
Anyone who doubts my ability in Mortal Kombat 11 is
Round 1.
quite free to challenge combat. And I'd be glad to give them a free ass whooping.
No mercy.
Round 2. Fight.
No mercy.
I want none. Hello to my 4 lovely viewers. You're all very welcome to Green-HillGaming, where Johnny Kahn is going online in Mortal Kombat 11 Aftermath. You're all keeping very well.
Top all morning to ya.
Chad.
My good fella, what's the crack?
Very well, Chad. Apart from me losing this fight. Great fatality there, Scorpion. How are we keeping, Chad?
Fatality. Scorpion wins.
You know, I can read minds. I know there's somebody watching this live stream right now that's thinking, he lost. He lost.
I'm okay.
But when I win, they're silent. Glad you're doing okay, Chad. And once again, man, you're very welcome to the live stream and I hope that you enjoy.
Round 1.
You know, people focus on your failures and they ignore your success. Don't know why. Jealous.
Speaking of failures, the next Fast and Furious movie will be in space.
Round 2. Fight.
Space. The new Fast and the Furious movie is going to be in space. What has that movie series turned into? I haven't
Emoji
seen
rolling on the floor laughing.
many Fast and the Furious movies, but wasn't it about like street racing?
Scorpion wins.
Wasn't that like its core? Do you know what? I don't even know because I didn't see many movies. I just presumed it was about street racing. But the next movie is going to be in space. Jesus Christ. Should be interesting anyway, to say the least. Fuck, like. What's it gonna be, like rock and roll racing?
Scorpion.
The fuck? I just picked Scorpion.
Shao Kahn.
Dom has to stop his younger brother John Cena. He's the best driving assassin in the planet. Emoji rolling on the floor laughing.
Serious.
Shirai Ryu Fire Garden.
Yeah.
Well, sounds better than most of John Cena's storylines in the World Wrestling Entertainment anyway, that's for sure.
Sorry, mate. I don't grovel. Then die, fool.
Round 1.
Anyway, I'm gonna stop talking. Fucking hate that move. Ah. Fucking hell.
Kneel before Shao Kahn.
Round 2. Fight.
Ah.
Finish him.
Worthless. Weak.
Another win, Chad. Another win to add to my belt. And once again, I would like to point out,
Shao Kahn
again,
wins.
I'm not going to win them all. I'm
Good
not
job.
like, thank you, Chad. I'm not a pro at Mortal Kombat 11. I don't claim to be the world's greatest Mortal Kombat player, okay? There was nobody saying that I have like a 100% fucking win streak in Mortal Kombat. Okay, I don't think anybody is going to have a 100% win streak in Mortal Kombat. Not even the world's greatest Mortal Kombat player will have a 100% win streak. The pros lose too. And a lot of the time those pros will actually lose to random people online outside of esports. So I just wanted to say that. And also I want to reiterate that the definition of a win is a very simple definition. Winner. There's a winner and there's a
You
loser.
heard about the Super Mario collection being part old ROMs.
I'll get to that in a second, channel. But I'm going full heel mode here as Johnny Kahn, getting into the character. So it doesn't matter how you win. All that matters is you do win. And I also want to give some advice to all of my opponents.
Shao Kahn.
Don't ever count me out. And anyone, any naysayers, any haters and doubters watching this live stream right now, yeah? If you doubt my abilities in Mortal Kombat 11, you are free as the wind to challenge me in Mortal Kombat 11. And I'd be happy to put my skills to practice
Retrocade.
when I kick your sorry ass. Now, Super Mario 3D All-Stars. I did, yeah, I heard that. They're using ROMs.
Terminator, emoji grinning face.
Yeah, Chad, you got Terminator player. Full Johnny Kahn mode here now. Oh, Mac Wi-Fi, Chad. Sorry about you. Looks like we're not going to be getting much of Terminator because he has Mac Wi-Fi. And my Wi-Fi is perfectly fine, because if it wasn't, then the live stream wouldn't be playing. So I'll happily find an opponent that has a stable internet connection.
Emoji crying face.
I know, Chad. Sorry. The person who actually found out that Super Mario 3D All-Stars uses ROMs actually found out. They actually found a reference to Kirby 64 and Perfect Dark as well. So hinting that Nintendo could be using that emulator technology and ROMs as a way of delivering future N64 games on the Switch, or some sort of a... My controller froze there for a second. Some sort of a N64 service. What the fuck? What the fuck? What the fuck?
Scorpion.
Sorry. My opponent there just decided to randomly say what the fuck. It's a pity my opponent's audio doesn't come up in the live streams. Just to let you know, opponent, I'm doing Holy David. Holy David. I'm in the middle of doing a live stream as well, to let you know.
Retrocade.
You have the privilege of getting your ass handed to you by Johnny Kahn on Green-HillGaming. Holy David. Great time to be alive.
Scorpion 5000.
I know, yeah, Chad.
Fight.
Blue Scorpion. Oh, he's a default. He's a default. Oh. I blame the Mac Wi-Fi.
You will suffer.
Don't think suffering now by your internet connection.
Round
Okay.
2. Fight.
The only thing suffering is your Mac Wi-Fi. Haha. Oh, he's raging.
Final round. Fight. mercy.
Tell your opponent Game Pass is now available on Android devices for $1.5 a month.
Game Pass is now available on
Wins.
Android devices for $15 a month. Sponsored by Chad Middleton. Fucking combo heads. Yeah, I lost. But that makes you feel good, doesn't it? But how about all the times I won? What about those times? And by the way, I'm just in character mode, Johnny Kahn.
New Fall Guys update.
Oh yeah, I've seen that actually. It's like kind of... It's actually a full-on update. They like remixed some of the stages. And added in the big yeet, or the big yeet test or something, big hammer thingy-majig.
Aaron Black. Shao Kahn.
Big Yetis.
Yeah, that's the one. I'm gonna actually play it tomorrow, I'm gonna stream it tomorrow.
Soul Chamber. Round one. Fight.
Show Scorpion the Big Yetis.
With fucking pleasure. Oh, okay.
Kneel before Shao Kahn.
Round two. Fight.
Look at his name. Look at his variation name.
LOL.
You will suffer.
Final round. Fight.
Ooh. Sort of fucking shintality, is it? Kick to the shin. Instant fucking dead, is it? I don't care. These people can't play Mortal Kombat. Yeah? What do you mean? He just beat you. Yeah. You don't have the intellect to understand what I'm saying. They can't play Mortal Kombat. All they can do is memorize combos. That's it. If these people develop fucking Alzheimer's tomorrow morning, they'd be fucked. Yet I'd be still here kicking their fucking ass in Mortal Kombat.
Scorpion. Shao Kahn. Deadpool.
Oh, Mac Wi-Fi.
Round one. Fight.
GameCube is 19 years old.
What about to make me feel old? Fucking Mac Wi-Fi shit. $19 years.
Round
19
two. Fight.
years. Really, with the Mac Wi-Fi, like.
Finish him.
Oh, just got the fucking thing, really. I'm done with that.
Fatality.
Next opponent, please. I can't handle the Mac Wi-Fi. You see, you lose some, you win some. Where's my good job? Chad. I don't see a good job in the live chat. I'm waiting, Chad.
You're the dog's bullocks.
What the fuck did you just say to me, Chad? Now, Chad, get your Switch. Shine it up. Real nice. Switch it on.
Or the bee's knees, emoji thinking face.
Well, the bee's knees no song is better than the dog's bollocks. So I don't know if you were giving me a compliment or an insult. But you better watch your words very carefully, boy. Because I will challenge you in Mortal Kombat 11 Aftermath anytime, anywhere on the Switch. I'll keep you taking his shit.
Sub-Zero.
And I'll kick your ass in Mortal Kombat 11.
That's what Jack said to give a compliment.
Right, you're using Jack's spasticated eye as your Irish history teacher. Or Irish teacher. Fuck Jack. Jack doesn't have a clue what he's talking about. Nobody in Ireland says top of the morning, Chad. Okay, maybe a couple of other sayings and stuff like that. Plenty more beneficial ways to learn Irish slangs than that spastic.
Round one.
But was that supposed to be a compliment? What's the last of that comment?
Yes.
Oh. Well, if somebody calls me the bollocks of a dog, I find it very hard to take it as a compliment. Or these knees I can deal with.
Round two. Fight.
He said to pour tea bags on your head and drink Guinness and then you're Irish. Emoji thinking face.
I don't even know how to comment.
Finish him.
Cunt.
Sub-Zero wins.
Put tea bags on your head and drink Guinness. But tea originated in England. Actually, it didn't originate in England, actually. But like, tea is known for something that English people drink. So that is wrong anyway, first of all. And it's assuming that everyone in Ireland drinks. Oh, he's a walking stereotype. That's what he is. I mean, he's a belt of a stereo. That's what he fucking needs, to be honest. The only Irish gaming YouTuber that matters is being broadcasted into your ears and eyes right now. And in case that wasn't clear enough, that person is me, Green-HillGaming. Nobody else matters.
Kahn. Baraka.
What was his name? Baraka Obama.
Shang Tsung's Island Ruins. Round 1. Fight.
Ireland's Christian gamer, emoji white smile.
Chad, I will slap you. Come to Ireland, Chad. And I will get somebody to slap you.
Round 2. Fight. Finish him. Baraka wins.
Baraka looking like Goomba.
There's another compliment Jack said, but I think it's offensive. Emoji thinking face.
Enlightening me, ironically, with that pathetic man's stupidity. So yeah, go on. Amuse me. Entertain me.
Frost. Kahn.
Ah, it's been a while since I kicked Frost's ass.
Retrocade.
Go on, Frost.
Round 1.
You'll have nothing, Frost. Fucking snowflake.
Disappointing.
Very disappointing, actually.
Round 2. Fight.
The last Frost I fought put up more of a challenge. And then even play the game.
You have skin like a pint of milk.
Skin like a pint of milk.
Finish her.
Got a flawless victory.
You suck.
Exactly, Kahn. She does, doesn't she? I think this means you're pale. A bit like Frost is right now.
Fatality. Shao Kahn wins.
Flawless victory. Thank you. I wouldn't say that's offensive, no, to be honest. Unless a black person was saying it to a white person, because that's equally as offensive as a white person saying to a black person, you have skin like a pint of Guinness. But in a binary head. Good God.
Scorpion. Shao Kahn.
If we have to see one more Scorpion player, yeah, I know I'm playing Shao Kahn. But how many Shao Kahn players have you seen compared to how many Scorpion players you've seen?
Retrocade.
I think after this I'm gonna have a cup of tea, and I might wrap up the live stream then after my cup of tea.
Scorpion the game.
Scorpion the game. That's what the game should be renamed as, to be honest.
Round one. Fight.
And again, I want to point out that I am in character mode right now. A bit like if you were watching Boogie or Jack, Fasticated Eye, or PewDiePie. They're all characters. So I'm in character mode right now, Johnny Kahn. So if I come across as being arrogant, cocky and offensive, trying to be a snowflake. Ah, bollocks. Oh.
Disappointing.
I love this game.
Round two. Fight.
What I like about playing Shao Kahn is the fact that it makes me feel like I'm actually playing as the Shao Kahn that would like kick my ass back in the old Mortal Kombat games as a boss. I get to beat Shao Kahn, like, basically. Like, it isn't just a cosmetic, like. This way? Sounds like Shao Kahn's a creesh. 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 Oh, fuck this off here. Held off at the last moment, didn't he? Oh God! You bastard!
You will suffer.
And what kind of hairstyle is that, Scorpion? Like,
Final round.
you look like a fucking Zoomer with your hairstyle. Like, you know when you play Mortal Kombat 2 and Mortal Kombat 3 and you get to Shao Kahn and he just kicks your ass, like, you get to do that in Mortal Kombat 11. That's why he's my main. So yeah, Scorpion, take your Azuma hairstyle with you and fuck off. Oh, they're gone.
Fatality. Shao Kahn wins.
Shao Kahn wins. Time for me to have a cup of tea. Anybody having a cup of tea?
Good job.
Thank you. You see, you don't lose them all and you don't win them all. Like, I think if I won every single game in the live stream, I think like I would be like some sort of a fucking god of Mortal Kombat. And if I lost every single game in the live stream, then I'd be absolutely trashed. So I'm kind of like,
I drinking root beer.
oh, root beer, I've got a story about root beer. Hold that thought. But yeah, so I'm not going to win them all, I'm not going to lose them all, but I'm good at that game. I'm confident in saying that. And if anybody wants to put my skills to the test, then you know what to do. Fight me in Mortal Kombat. So yeah, I'm gonna have a cup of tea. Cup of tea. Cup of tea. Cup of tea. So yeah, I'll just put in the chat. Be right back in case anybody joins. If anyone does chat, you can be the host momentarily there. So I'll have some fun there for a few minutes.
Be right back. This live stream is sponsored by Xbox's Game Pass. Over 100 games for $1.5 a month.
Kettle Kahn is boiling away there, so I'll wait until the kettle boils before I have a cup of tea. This live stream is sponsored by Xbox's Game Pass. Over 100 games that you've already played 100 times before on many Xbox devices for $15 a month. Thanks for that, Phil Spencer. How are you getting on Animal Crossing, Phil? You know, it says something that Phil Spencer has probably played Animal Crossing more than I have this week. I haven't played Animal Crossing since Friday. Phil Spencer is supposed to be marketing the next Xbox. So yeah, I won't go into a fight in Mortal Kombat right now because kettle is boiling. So as soon as my tea is made, I'll get right back into things. Chad, I think the only sensible thing that Phil Spencer could do right now, Xbox could do right now, is to leave the physical console market and use xCloud as their as their business and put all their games, not that they have a whole lot of games, to be honest with you, like, because like if they leave the console industry, like, then basically like they're all they're left with is their first party games. But then again, that wouldn't necessarily be true, though, would it? If you think of it. No, because all those games, like all those third-party games, as well as their first-party games, will be delivered through that service. So, like, kind of a bit like what Google Stadia are doing. Like, you basically have a subscription, and you can play it on whatever device you have, basically. Do you know what I mean? So basically, like, well, it's a bit late now, like, because they're launching. Apparently,
no Game Pass for iPhone users.
Yeah, it's a pity though. My kettle is boiled there, but before I go out and make the cup of tea, it's obviously too late for them now because they're launching the Xbox series of consoles. Xbox, isn't it supposed to be Xbox Series S, Xbox Series S, and Xbox Series Y? It's like a fucking chemical chart at this stage. But it is too late for them. But I think ideally, like, it would have been a lot better if they didn't release physical consoles and they just used xCloud as a kind of so basically what I'm trying to say to you is, I think it would make a lot more sense for Microsoft to become a service delivered on every
November
device.
10th.
Yeah, delivered as a service. So like whether you were sitting in front of your computer, your laptop, your smartphone, your tablet, your TV, your PS4, your Switch, whatever basically like screen that you have, yeah, you basically would be able to stream like whatever Xbox games are on there, and obviously like you get access to third-party games along with it, like basically. I think that would make a lot more sense because they're not offering anything really like innovative in terms of like the console, in terms of the controller, you know what I mean? So, and all they seem to be talking about is like playing old games, so like an archive of games. So that's the whole point of a service, is being able to have a big library of games. So I just think that would have made more sense for Microsoft than actually releasing this like next generation console. Like with a console you expect games, like new games at launch, like within the launch window, and instead Microsoft is saying, no, well, you know, you can play all these old games on a physical console. So the whole thing is just a bit backwards. Anyway, I need to go backwards into the kitchen and make that cup of tea.
Only the small indie company Nintendo can give us old games for full price.
Johnny Kahn is back. Will they kick some more ass online in Mortal Kombat 11 Aftermath? round off the live stream with my hot cup of tea beside me. Only the small indie company Nintendo can give us all games for full price. Difference between Nintendo and Microsoft, yeah, is Nintendo have released Animal Crossing and Paper Mario within a couple. What has Microsoft released from the point of view of first party in the last couple of months?
Kahn.
And if you look at the kind of games that they have on the way, yeah, they have Hyrule Warriors on the way.
Shiva.
We know that we have like Bayonetta 3 in development, Breath of the Wild 2 in development. What does Microsoft have to offer? Now if we'll talk about their old games,
Deadpool.
I think anybody would tell you anyway that the Nintendo have the better library of classic games compared to Microsoft anyway, so. That's what I say there, chatty boy.
You will be my first female champion.
And I have to say, I think €60 for Super Mario 64, Sunshine and Galaxy is a standard price. What about paying full price for like...
Nintendo has the best fans, emoji smirk.
They actually have the worst fans, to be honest with you. They're actually the most like greedy, needy, selfish fans that you could actually imagine. So no, I'd have to completely disagree with you there, Chad.
Round 2, fight.
Elbow talk.
Ah, fuck.
Finish him. Fatality. Shiva wins.
Chad, what are your honest thoughts on the Xbox Series? Because that's what it's called now, isn't it? The Xbox Series, because there's going to be the Series X, the Series S, and apparently the Series Y. 3 different types of consoles. What are you? Do you think that it's going to be like a success? Do you think that it's going to stagger the market? Like when you look at what Sony are doing with the PS5, and you look at the momentum that console has. I know tomorrow they're going to have a showcase. You look at the kind of games that are coming out for PS5, like a new Spider-Man game. We know that there's going to be a new Horizon game.
Shang Tsung.
Like the innovation of the DualSense controller, the innovation of the console itself, the specs of the console, how that innovation is going to impact third-party games like Resident Evil Village. And you look at what Nintendo are doing, well, reportedly doing, but it's heavily reported, it's more or less leaked, that early next year we're going to be getting a 4K Switch. So like 4K Breath of the Wild 2, 4K Metroid Prime 4, 4K Bayonetta 3, 4K No More Heroes 3. Like, and then you have Microsoft that are like, oh, wait a couple of years for exclusive games, same controller, same console. So, I'd actually like to get your thoughts, Chad,
Round 2, fight.
on what you think of Xbox Series. And stop banging on about Xbox Pass, because you can get it on PC, as you pointed out, and you can get it on mobile devices, as you pointed out.
Finish him. Shang Tsung wins.
Well, Chad, I await your opinion, because I know next to nothing about the Xbox Series.
Xbox been dead since their games on the 360 started going to PS3.
What do you mean their games start going to PS3? As far as third parties are concerned, like, it doesn't really come into it, like. But okay, that's an interesting response to a question about Xbox Series. But I think anyway, as I pointed out, like well, look, don't really have any interest in the Xbox brand. I'm gonna go back to the name there for a second. I never really had. I only bought an Xbox 360 because I chose a Wii over a PS3, and that is a very long story which I won't be getting into. But I still wanted to play games like Resident Evil 5.
Microsoft said they couldn't afford to buy Bungie back.
And there you go, like, that's a bad thing, because Bungie created Halo, made Halo what it is, and they couldn't do that. Therefore, I mean, look at the reaction that the new Halo got. Like, you know, fans weren't happy with it. But as I was saying, I wanted to play Resident Evil 5. I wanted to play GTA 4. So I bought a 360 over a PS3 at the time. That's the reason I bought an Xbox 360. I didn't get an Xbox One, and I haven't looked into next to anything about the Xbox Series. I just know that it's their next generation console. It's, you know, gonna have better specs, blah blah blah. But I have been hearing things about, like, Phil Spencer saying that don't expect any exclusives for at least a year. Halo being delayed. The controller looks exactly the same. To my knowledge, it has no haptic feedback or anything like that. And it only seems to be like Sony that is talking about no loading times and 3D audio. So as far as I'm concerned, the Xbox just seems to be like, you know what I mean, same old, which is kind of so boring now, like compared to, like, you look at the innovation that Sony are putting into the console, you look what Nintendo have been doing since 2017, because it's important to point that out too, like, you know, Nintendo has been kicking ass since 2017, like, you know.
Xbox 360 was great, but they didn't bother to buy the game studios during those days.
Yeah, that's over 3 years ago, like, Switch was released, and like, so Switch has already been leaving its impact, you know, and what they're doing early next year is actually upgrading their Switch to 4K. So my opinion is, like, Microsoft is going to be, like, left behind, like, big time next generation, big time. But so you feel that they didn't get the studios? But I don't think that has anything to do with it, though. I mean, I think Sony have really outdone themselves in every way next generation, because they are gathering studios when it comes to games. But I think the reason why I'm hyped for PS5 and why I think PS5 will be a success, and do you know what I mean? Like, what's got me so excited about it is the fact that they've actually decided to innovate for a change. With that controller, the DualSense controller, with the haptic feedback. I forget the name of the technology that's being used for the adaptive triggers, that's the word. So they will literally adapt to the game, so like the triggers will lock and stuff like that. It's got motion control, it's got a microphone, and then the specs of the console itself, with no loading times, and what that means to the game. That's not just something that's like, that's not just, you know, it's not just a spec, like it makes a huge difference to when you're playing a massive open world game where there is no loading times. 3D audio will make the games even more atmospheric and immersive. So these are actually things that matter, like, they matter. Like, I remember when PlayStation...
Xbox Kinect and PS Move was a mistake.
It was a response to the success of the Wii. You know what I mean? So it didn't really go anywhere, like, it was a gimmick. It wasn't really innovation. It was more of a kind of it was imitation over innovation. But what Sony are doing with the PS5 is true innovation, and it really is going to make a difference. Like, I remember when PS3 went HD, like, I mean, it was the same gaming experience. It was still just better graphics. The resolution was increased, but apart from that, it was the same experience. It wasn't really an experience. You know, whereas like 3D audio is going to be an experience, no loading times is going to be an experience, haptic feedback and adaptive triggers is going to be an experience. Do you know what I mean? Being able to put your game into the console and play it much quicker experience. And I think all those things that Sony have done with the PS5, that's why PS5 is going to be the success I think it is. You know what I mean? So I don't think it's anything to do with, like, I don't think it's anything to do with Xbox like fucking up with Bungie or Xbox fucking up with studios. I think all Xbox needed to do was like change their console, do something innovative, you know, to gather the obviously games are the most important part of the console, you know, but like, so like, I think it's safe to say like that it's at the end of the day, like, it is third-party games that...
I think the Series S will appeal to the casual gamer or parent who can't afford games and don't really care for exclusive.
That's a good point. I think you're right there, because Sony has, in recent years, had fantastic exclusive first-party titles, like from Naughty Dog with Uncharted and The Last of Us, you know, to God of War, you know, making a huge comeback, you know, Spider-Man, now with Insomniac. So, you know, Sony have really kind of stepped up the game when it comes to their first party lineup. Microsoft, not so much, to be honest with you. They're actually, if anything, they're losing support. Obviously, Nintendo is the king of, like, you know, first party games, exclusives. But I think it is safe to say, like, that most of the games that people purchase on, and you can even do a quick test right now If you don't believe me, I can do it too. Anyone who owns a PS4 and Xbox One, look at the amount of games you have and add up the exclusives compared to multi-platform, and you'll actually see that you more than likely have more games that are multi-platform than you do of games that are actually exclusives. So I think what actually like
PS5
sells...
is innovated, but people will wait for more exclusive games before buying.
Some people will, not me. I can't speak for those people. That's a day one purchase for me because of what the PS5 can offer to me in terms of an experience, 100%. I think you will get people that will hold off for various reasons. Some people don't buy consoles on launch day. And you know, it's actually very interesting, actually, for me on a personal level. This will be, to my knowledge, the first time that, number one, the first time that I actually bought a PlayStation on launch. Did that one sink in for a second? No, because I literally bought and played every PlayStation console. And the PS5 will be the first console that I've actually bought on launch. Because the PlayStation 1, I know for a fact, like I got that as a kid, like as a present. Like I didn't buy it myself. Like it was gotten for me as a present around Christmas, at Christmas Day. But it wasn't like a launch purchase. I know that the PS2 wasn't bought on launch. That was also bought for a present on Christmas. PS3 didn't buy until the end of its life cycle. PS4,
PSP and Vita.
never got those. PS4 I bought, oh god, it was like a good couple of months after launch anyway. I think it was like a year maybe. I think it was like 6 months to a year after launch. So yeah, PS5 will be the first console, PlayStation console I bought at launch. And it'll also be the first PlayStation console that I would have therefore actually pre-ordered as well. So history will be made. History will be made. But that's what has me excited about PS5 is the innovation in terms of what the console can actually do and how it can impact the games. But yeah, I mean, as I was saying there, like with PlayStation and Xbox, like the majority of games that will be sold on those consoles will be third-party games. So I think you're right there, Chad. I think people will like.
Did you find your TV?
Not yet. Not yet. I'm probably just going to go with it and just like go in there, get it, go home, set it up, boom, 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 get on with it, kind of a thing. So yeah, I just look at Xbox and I just don't see any real kind of incentive to buy it. There's no real innovation. I mean, Phil Spencer has more or less said like don't expect exclusive games for like at least a year, which is just fucking mental, to be honest with you. But I said I never really had any interest in Xbox, and as well, like I'm not going to become a three console kind of a person, you know. That's just not for me in terms of price wise. It's not for me. You know, space wise, it's not for me. Definitely this generation, anyway. Space wise, not for me. Fucking mini fridges and fucking everything else. Definitely not for me. So what more can I say?
He's too busy playing Animal Crossing.
I haven't played Animal Crossing since Friday, man. You mean me and Phil Spencer? I actually haven't turned my Switch on since Friday. Still haven't accepted Duck's friend request. But like for me, it's Nintendo and Sony. Like
Battletoads.
Nintendo consoles and PlayStation consoles. That's where it is for me, and of course
Elbow
all
cough.
my retro consoles as well. Xbox just has, like, in all due respect, you know, to Microsoft and Phil Spencer, like Xbox just has no place in my gaming life. Like for Nintendo, you know, it's about, you know, it's an interesting one actually. Like I have two starting points with Nintendo. I know you might say that makes absolutely no sense. How can I have 2 starting points? How can I have 2 entry points when it comes to like Nintendo? But hear me out. Actually no. Actually that's wrong. I'm going to confuse you even more. There's a few entry points, but it makes no sense. How can I say? There was a few times over the years where I was like introduced to Nintendo, because my primary consoles over the years, as in consoles that I played the most, that I put more time into, that I had more games on the console, my main consoles would have been obviously Sega. So the first console I ever got was a Sega Master System, and I played quite a good few games on that console. Then along came the Mega Drive. I did get a Nintendo 64, but I can't remember if that came before or after the PlayStation. But the fact of the matter is, the PlayStation definitely became my main console. Like, so many games on that console, you have no idea. And then that became my main console, like up to PS2. But in between, I was introduced to Nintendo a few times, and I'm trying to think of the first time I was introduced to Nintendo. I think it was a friend of mine who got a Super Nintendo. I don't know if his Super Nintendo was chipped or modded, I don't know, but he definitely had Super Mario All-Stars. I believe that was the first time that I was ever introduced to Nintendo. I'm pretty sure of it. I'm pretty sure that I played Super Mario All-Stars. I want to believe that as the truth, because I can remember this like greyish console, which must have been the Super Nintendo. I can remember, yeah, it was definitely a Super Nintendo, and it was definitely Super Mario All-Stars. So that's where it all began for me in terms of Nintendo. I didn't know what Mario was. I had no idea. I was a Sega guy. I was a Sonic guy. I just knew those. I just knew Sonic, and I knew Sega, and I knew the Sega Masters and Mega Drive. Didn't know anything about Nintendo. Didn't know anything about the consoles. Didn't know anything about Mario at the time. But I played it. But it didn't leave a massive impact on me at the time. No, I'm trying to think. What came next.
Have you went back to play All Stars?
I haven't. I told you I haven't played my Switch since Friday. I'm terrible with timelines. I don't know if I got the Game Boy after or before the Nintendo 64. But I'm gonna, like, just to start off with we'll start off with consoles and then we go to handhelds as far as Nintendo is concerned. So the next Nintendo console that I would be introduced to, and bear in mind, like, I mean, when I played like Super Nintendo, as I said, it left no impact on me at all. I didn't like run home and say I want this console. I didn't even know what it was called. I didn't even know it was called the Super Nintendo. I didn't even know what Nintendo was. I just knew that my friend had this console. I played it for a while. It had no impact on me whatsoever. So then the next time that I would be introduced to Nintendo in terms of consoles was the Nintendo 64. I remember that very well, actually. I was in town and there was a TV shop called Madden's. Had a TV on the outside. So I was looking in on the outside. Basically on the window there was a TV with Super Mario 64 playing on it, and I was just really like drawn into the game, and I remember just wanting that game, wanting to play that game. Again, I don't know if I had a PlayStation before or after, but the funny thing is, it was actually my dad that got the Nintendo 64 for himself, for a racing game called Lamborghini Challenge or something like that anyway. But it must have came with Super Mario 64, and naturally I took over the console and it became my console. And let me tell you, Super Mario 64 just like took over my fucking childhood. I played that game so much, but it was one of the only games I actually played on the Nintendo 64 like properly. I had a fighting game, again the Lamborghini Challenge game. I had Mortal Kombat trilogy on it as well, but other than those games, that was it. Like the most games I played on it were just 2 games. It was Super Mario 64 and the Mortal Kombat trilogy. But I think like what most gamers growing up in the 90s, like Super Mario 64 just like left a massive impact on my gaming life. Running around that castle, jumping in and out of the stairs. Oh, I loved it. But still, the PlayStation was my main console. So I'd play Super Mario 64 for a while, then turn to PlayStation. PlayStation was my main console. Then, so I don't know if I'm boring you, this story is a bit too long, a bit drawn out, but the next time then I would be introduced to Nintendo in terms of consoles was the Wii. So like up until that point, like my kind of like memory, my main memory of Nintendo and the main impact that Nintendo would have had on me, like what I liked about Nintendo was just simple Mario 64 specifically. But oh wait, what am I saying? I'm fucking stupid. I forgot the GameCube, didn't I? The GameCube. That would have been the next console I was introduced to. So up until the point of the GameCube, again my main console was PlayStation 1, and then I got the PlayStation 2, and that became my main console. But then I found out that there was a remake of Resident Evil coming out. Again, I got Resident Evil on PlayStation 1, my main console. But I found that there was a remake coming out on the fucking GameCube. I didn't even know much about the GameCube. Didn't even know what it was. I just knew that it was a console of Nintendo. Again, I knew Nintendo from, playing Super Mario 64. And I wanted it. I fucking wanted it. So, said to my mother, I said, I want that console for Christmas. Got it for Christmas. There was a mix-up at the store at the time. It was supposed to have, the bundle was supposed to have been the GameCube, the Super Mario, fucking Resident Evil remake, but I ended up getting Super Mario Sunshine, which I had no problem with because, my memories.
Resident Evil 4.
Fuck Resident Evil 4. Not my joke, that's good, yeah. No, it was Resident Evil remake that I was supposed to get with it, but it ended up becoming Super Mario Sunshine, which I didn't complain about because, that was the next game after Super Mario 64. That was great, like, playing that on Christmas, playing Super Mario Sunshine was a really fucking good memories of that. But still, even with the GameCube and the games I had on it, the PS2 was my main console. But I eventually got my hands on the Resident Evil remake, and I remember the first time seeing the graphics, I just was blown away. But more than any other thing, Resident Evil 0. First time seeing the train, like the actual the seats on the train.
I also got the GameCube with Super Mario Sunshine.
Go away. We both got that bundle, so that's mad. That's mad, like, 'cause I thought it was only a bundle that was exclusive at the store, so it must have been a bundle that's actually just with the console. So, but
both games are now on the Switch.
That's right. Come along with it's probably true. Super Mario Sunshine's on the Switch, or coming to the Switch, and both Resident Evil 0 and 1 are on the Switch. So it's full circle. But I remember being blown away by the graphics, because it's actually like it's a fact. Like this isn't like fucking console war thing here. Like, but it's a fact that the GameCube was actually the most powerful console of that generation. It just didn't have the success because of the fact that they went with a different type of media. Those tiny little, like anyone who knows GameCube games will know that the GameCube games are like tiny little discs, like mini discs, and that didn't go down too well with some developers, and that's why it didn't take off as well. But as far as power is concerned, it was the more powerful console, so games look amazing. And then I just played more and more of PS2, and I was hyped up for the PS3. Long story short, I didn't get a PS3. I'm not going to go into that story. And I made the decision to buy a Wii because I was really blown away by the fact that the Wii was the cheapest console of the generation. Miles apart from the price of the PS3, because the PS3 was 630 euro.
Xbox 360 was big for its time for online multiplayer.
Yeah, but I gave no fucks about online multiplayer. Like, that's one of the reasons why I actually went along with the Wii at the time. No, I would eventually have an internet connection by the time I got the Wii, and I played online multiplayer on the Wii, but it just, I won't get into that story too much, like, but anyway, like, when I realised that the Wii was a fraction of the price of the PS3, that it had a completely different approach, like just such a refreshing approach at the time. Like, motion control was just, you gotta remember, this was before, like, nothing had ever been done like this before. Like, there was no motion control up until that point. I remember hearing about the virtual console service. Again, I had online at the time, so it wasn't too much of a problem. I didn't have to worry about missing out on that. Being able to go back and play the games I grew up playing on their virtual console really appealed to me. I remember seeing a trailer to Super Mario Galaxy, which would have been the latest 3D Mario game, and I just said to myself, you know, I remember playing Super Mario 64. I love this game. Motion control is different. The price is really appealing. It's doing something completely different. The virtual console is amazing. I said to myself, you know what? Yeah, I can take advantage of every single one of these features. Yeah, I'm going to get this. And it just introduced me to a whole different way of thinking in terms of gaming. Like, thinking about like what a console is, you know, what a game is, how you play that game. Just, it changed everything. Like, everyone knows the Wii changed everything. You know, like or hate it, like, it changed everything. I haven't went back since. Like, I mean, that was my kind of like, that was my real introduction to Nintendo. You know, because the Wii became my main console of that generation. I didn't buy a PS3 at the time. I didn't have an Xbox 360 at the time. It was my main console, and I really liked what Nintendo were doing in terms of the innovation, in terms of taking a different approach to gaming, to the tired and tested kind of, because I mean, I loved the PS2 and the PS1 before. I just felt like the PS3 was kind of like more of the same, but it required so much of your money to start off with, and it required like a new TV to experience it, and it just required so much, but it was still the same old in terms of like same kind of games, same kind of controller, same kind of experience, but again requiring so much of your money and requiring so many different devices to go along with it, like an internet connection and a TV. No, at the time I didn't have an internet connection when I was deciding not to get a PS3, but then eventually, basically the money that I had a PS3 pre-ordered. Long story short,
Blu-ray is dead.
Blu-ray is more, yeah. I had PS3 pre-ordered, and I cancelled my pre-order because of the fact that there was this game being cancelled and delayed. I just decided not to get it. The money that I actually got back, this is so funny. The money that I actually, this is no joke. The money I had actually saved up for the PS3 and the games to go along with it, no joke. I was able to buy a computer. I was able to put down the first month bill on my broadband, and I think the installation, and buy the Wii. So that's why I ended up having an internet connection by the time the Wii came out. But no, I just really liked what Nintendo were offering in terms of a different way to go about it, and I haven't turned back since. I really like the innovation of Nintendo. I mean, the Wii U would follow the Switch, obviously, you know where we are now. And that's where I am in terms of Nintendo. So as far as like Nintendo is concerned, like, I will always love the next Mario game, but not even just Mario. Like, when I got the Wii, I was introduced to so many Nintendo franchises for the first time, because it come to me not growing up in Nintendo. Like, I didn't play games like Kirby, I didn't play games like Smash, Mario Kart, and so on and so forth. So to be able to be introduced, and Animal Crossing as well, to be able to be introduced to those games for the first time on the Wii was really special. And now I know these games. So like, now I have a Switch, like, and I'm playing the latest installment in the Smash series, Kirby, and so on and so forth. So that's kind of like what Nintendo kind of means to me, and of course their innovation as well. Like,
The MGS4 bundle I got was like $4.99.
good stuff, man. Yeah, man, Metal Gear Solid, is it? Yeah. Jesus Christ, $500. Well, you got lucky with the $500, but I presume because it's Metal Gear Solid, I presume you bought it later. Like, I mean, I was planning on buying it on day one, you see. Hardcore gamer, like, and I was young back then. Like, I mean, I was only coming out of secondary school at that time. This is my, like, if anyone thinks I'm not a fucking PlayStation fan, if anyone thinks I'm not a fan of PlayStation, they can kiss my ass, because like, I fucking literally fucking was obsessed with the PS3. Like, ask any of my fucking school friends. I was obsessed.
I bought it later.
With PS3, I was planning on buying that day one, man. I was fucking putting my fucking pocket, and this is before fucking this is. I wasn't the fucking spoiled rotten fucking child that you get nowadays, like, where they get like fucking €50 for just fucking farting. Do you know what I mean? Like I didn't get that kind of money, but every fucking bit of money I got, man, I put towards the PS3. I was obsessed with it, man. Seriously. But yeah, fucking yeah. So where was I? So that's what Nintendo means to me. The games I grew up playing, like Super Mario 64, the franchises that I was introduced to for the first time on the Wii, and the innovation that I was introduced with the Wii as well. Like, Nintendo is just a company that I will always be with. And of course, PlayStation. PlayStation has always been, well, apart from PS3, has always been my main console. As I pointed out, like, the PlayStation 1 was my main console, introduced to franchises like Resident Evil for the first time. PS2 became my main console, you know, and also franchises like the Grand Theft Auto series, which ironically enough has actually become the motivation for me buying almost every PlayStation console. I saw Grand Theft Auto on the PS1 for the first time, and that was it. I said, I need a PlayStation 1. I want to play this game. Same with GTA 3 on PS2. And I actually got GTA 5 on PS3. So yeah, huge connection between GTA and PlayStation for me. So PS2 again, my main console. Of course, I didn't buy a PS3, but eventually bought a PS3. I didn't get a PS3 on launch, but I eventually got a PS3. Got a PS4. So I've always been a PlayStation gamer, but the one thing, you see, like, when I decided to buy a Wii over a PS3, that's when I saw a company doing something different in terms of how the console is designed, in terms of how the console plays, in terms of the kind of games you can play on it. I just thought that PlayStation were just playing it a bit too safe. Do you know what I mean? Like, the PS3 is like, okay, it's in HD, but I just thought it was playing it safe. And then the PS4 was just like, okay, we're going to give you better graphics, we're going to give you, you know. But let me tell you, PS5 is, I know I said this before on many other live streams, but I feel like this is the PlayStation I have been waiting for quite a long time now. You know, it's everything that I literally asked for. It's like a combination of Nintendo and PlayStation, because it brings together innovation and specs and all those amazing third-party games to go along with it, including their own first-party games. So PlayStation would always be the console that I remember playing games like Resident Evil and, you know, Final Fantasy and Grand Theft Auto. You know, it will always be that console, and I think the PS5 is going to be the best PlayStation that I've ever played, to be honest with you. So that's a long explanation there. But as far as Microsoft is concerned, it just literally has no place. It literally has. My only memory of playing Xbox, okay, I think I played a little bit of the original Xbox, but it wasn't mine. I I didn't really have any interest in it. I mean, most of the games that were being playing on it, I already had on PS2, so it just didn't have any significance to me. Again, I bought an Xbox 360 so I could play Resident Evil 5 and GTA 4, but those are the only games I played on, to be honest. So that's basically it, like, looking back at where it all began for me with Nintendo and with PlayStation. So it'll always be like Nintendo and PlayStation for me. And like, I'm still going to get people that just assume, you know, that I'm either a PlayStation fanboy or that I'm a Nintendo fanboy. And you know, I'm a gamer, and that's what it comes down to. It's the games. You know, there's a, like, what's the one thing in common with everything I said about those consoles? It's been a game. When I saw Super Mario 64 on that TV, that is what motivated me to want to get, well, my dad ended up getting it, but I just remember, like, seeing Super Mario 64, so obviously, like, when that came with the console, like, I just wanted to play that game, so that's what had me interested. Because if I hadn't seen that game, he would have gotten it to play Lamborghini Challenge, and I probably wouldn't have played it. You know what I mean? So it was only when I saw Super Mario 64 that I said I want the console. So it wasn't like I saw a big giant Nintendo logo, you know, and said I needed to get a Nintendo console. Like, it wasn't like that, you know. I seen Mario, played Mario, and I became a fan of Mario. And PlayStation, it was just seeing. It's kind of the combination of a game and PlayStation, actually, in terms of what PlayStation meant, because of the specs of PlayStation, because of what they were doing, because of the type of audience that they were appealing to. PlayStation, because of their specs, could give you games like you've never seen before. And because of the direction they were taking in terms of the kind of people they want to play in their games, they made a lot more edgier, like, you know, adult orientated, like, you know, mature games. And Grand Theft Auto is the biggest example of that. But there was something about that really appealed to me, because I had never seen this before. I had never played a game where you could drive around the city, you know, in an open world style. I didn't even know what open world was, you know, and driving over the pedestrians. It was a game that I had never had experienced before, so I wanted that game. So again, it wasn't a big massive PlayStation logo that, you know, motivated me to buy the console. So it's been games that motivated me to buy the console, and you know, and it will be the innovation as well. It'll be the innovation as well. There'll be always something about it, like, you know, with the Switch, like with the Switch. Jesus, the Switch is actually an interesting one, actually. Really interesting. Before the Switch, I was playing the Wii U, and that was a really, I think even from, you know what, the Wii U, it was a flop.
You tried PS Home?
I actually did. I actually enjoyed PS Home, actually. I did, actually. The Wii U was a letdown from start. I remember the Wii U being announced, and I thought I just felt so deflated. Like, as soon as I saw the Wii U logo, I actually felt deflated. I really did. Like, I thought that this was going to be like Nintendo's like proper console. You know, I thought they were going to like move on from the Wii, like, and just give us a powerful console, you know, with a bit of innovation along with it. I never thought they were going to like stick with the Wii U, you know, or the Wii brand, like. And the next minute they're bringing out this fucking. The next minute they're showing games like Wii Fit and New Super Mario Brothers, and I'm like.
It was fun to see the Resident Evil trailers in PS Home and talk to other people.
Yeah, it was a really social experience, actually. It really was a good experience. But yeah, I think it was only until the end of the Wii U's presentation that I think people, including myself, got a little bit excited about, because we saw all these, like, you know, quote unquote big games coming to Wii U. But I think, long story short, the Wii U, it was a flop in every sense of the fucking word flop, to be honest with you. And then word got out about like the NX and the mysterious NX, you know, when the late great Satoru Iwata just name dropped the NX, people were like, what is this? And he kind of played it cool at first. He was like, don't worry, you know, we're always working on the next console after we release it, the latest console. But it gathered momentum. It gathered fucking momentum, like, you know, and next minute they come out and say NX is launching in March of 2017, or I think that it said 2017. No, they said March of 2017. And it was getting to like, it was literally like, the month of October of 2016 came and nobody still knew what the NX was. And then boom, a trailer pops. But before I get to that, it's actually, I always like to tell this story because, you know, I want to show off. Low key show off. No, one of the things I always like to do when it comes to Nintendo, and come to them being so heavily orientated on innovation, they always do something different with their consoles. One thing I always like to do with Nintendo is predict their next console. And I just remember, like it was yesterday, I remember there was a patent released online of what nobody knew what it, like, there was no definitive concrete proof that this was a patent for the NX. There was a patent for a Nintendo gaming system, like a Nintendo device, and it basically described a gaming device without an optical disc drive that had slots for what at the time were described as SD cards and a controller with a display screen. Now, I looked at that very carefully. While the rest of the internet were saying this is going to be a digital only Wii U, or it's going to be a console and a handheld that are going to be using the same architecture, as in like the games and the handheld will run on the console and vice versa. That's what the rest of the world were talking about, but I kept it in my head. And I remember one day I was out strolling around and I just thought to myself, what if Nintendo's next big innovation, their next big slogan is your games where you go? That's literally, I'm telling you, that's literally what I said in my mind. Your games where you go. I remember thinking to myself, that has never been done before. Nobody has done that before. Nintendo hasn't done that before. And I remember thinking of, like, at the time, you know, they had the 3DS and the Wii U, and I remember thinking of Super Smash Brothers for Wii U and 3DS, and I remember just thinking about, like, you know, if you want Smash Brothers on the go, you have to buy a 3DS, and you have to buy the 3DS version of Super Smash Brothers, and if you want to play on the TV, you have to buy a Wii U and the Wii U version of Super Smash Brothers. So to have that combined experience, you have to buy 2 gaming systems and 2 games. Now, I'm not very good at maths, so at the time the Wii U was like, it was just like 300 odd euros.
Sony messed up with the Vita.
Yeah, they did. So like, let's just say 320 for the Wii U. I think it was like another 300 for the 3DS. So that's like 620 euro for those 2 systems. Then 2 full price games, we say like 50 euro each, that's 100 euros. That's 720 euro in total to have that full experience. And may I add, because they're 2 separate games, even in terms of how they're designed and played, you don't have a universal save system. So I remember saying to myself, that would be so innovative if you could have a universal gaming experience where you have the one, like, game that can be played either on the TV or on handheld that you can take with you and you can continue playing. So I just looked at that in my head. I could think of this pattern, how that would work, and I said to myself, what if the reason this device doesn't have an optical disc drive is because those SD card slots are actually indicating a cartridge. I was the first person. Nobody online was saying this. Nobody online was saying this. I said to myself, what if they're actually cartridges and not SD cards? Because if you actually look at the 3DS cartridges, they look very like SD cards. If you take off the sticker art, they look like SD cards. And this is the part where I kind of fucked up. I didn't 100% accurately predict the NX. When I looked at the patent and I looked into the controller with a display screen, I thought that was actually going to be a handheld. See, originally what I thought was the NX I thought was going to be literally in the box. You were going to get a console and you were going to get a handheld. And I was thinking that the handheld was going to be the controller, a bit like the Wii U, but designed differently. So what I was thinking was that you were going to have a console that would have a cartridge slot, and basically the controller would act a little bit like the Wii U gamepad, but it would also act independently so it would have its own chips and stuff inside it, and you'd be able to put the cartridge into that. So what I was thinking was, you'd have your game, like Super Smash Brothers, that you could put into your main console, play it with this handheld / controller, and then if you needed to leave the house, you could put the cartridge into the controller and take it with you. Little did I fucking know that the patent the patent confused me. Little did I fucking know that the patent was basically describing the Switch. And that the device with the SD card slot and optical disc drive, or without the optical disc drive, was actually the Switch as well. And the controller with a fucking display screen was the actual Switch. Little did I know that it was going to be, that the Switch was going to be the controller with the display screen, and that it was going to dock into a docking system. That's the part I kind of fucked up on. And I was always kind of conflicted. I was thinking, they can't give you a handheld and a console, because that would be too expensive. But I still had it in my head. I was adamant that was going to be what the NX was going to be, this universal gaming experience, the one game. Well, at the time it was two systems, but my prediction was the one game with the one game save system that you could take with you anywhere you go. That was my prediction. So I'm sitting there. I never forget the day, because it was October, and at this stage we still hadn't had any clue of what the NX was going to be. Nintendo were like, it's launching in March. And I was like, what the fuck is launching in March? What is the NX going to be? Nobody knew what it was. And out of nowhere, October, I think it was like October 16th or something, I'm lying in bed. I was getting up early because I was working in the charity shop at the time. So I was up fairly early and I was browsing through my phone, my news feed, and I just sees Mario's big fucking head looking behind a curtain saying, first look at NX. And I was working, so I went to work, and I swear to God, man, it was like fucking Christmas morning. Seriously, I just could not wait to get the fuck home. Like they were dropping the video at, I think it was like lunchtime. So I fucking went home for lunch. I ran home, turned on my computer, watched the reveal trailer, and what do I see but a guy playing Breath of the Wild on his TV, and he goes to his TV, there's a dock there, he picks up the Switch, takes it with him, goes to a park, plays it. I'm like, holy shit, I called it. But I wasn't excited because I called it. I just was excited because of how amazing of a concert that actually was. I wasn't like, oh, I was right. I'm thinking of that now. Like it took me months after the launch of the Switch to actually kind of take a step back and say, you actually called that there, Johnny. I was just more excited by the fact that it was just an amazing concept. And what an amazing concept it is. Like, it still is to this day. Like,
I didn't watch the trailers for Breath of the Wild, only a little gameplay.
Really? Oh, I watched all of them, man. All of them. So yeah, so that's it with Switch, like. And with PlayStation, like at its core, like, because when I had the Wii, you know, I couldn't play Resident Evil. I couldn't play Grand Theft Auto because the Grand Theft Auto has never been on a Nintendo console. So for me, PlayStation at its core was always a console where I could play those games. You know, where I could play those games, because I couldn't play Grand Theft Auto and, you know, the core Resident Evil, like mainline new release games on Nintendo hardware, along with other games like Final Fantasy as well, and like Metal Gear Solid. So all these games that I grew up playing were on PlayStation. PlayStation was the only console where I could actually experience those games. So that's kind of what PlayStation would always be to me. But PS5 introduces a whole new chapter for me and PlayStation, because it brings together innovation. So I'm excited for PlayStation for its innovation. I think for the first time, to be honest with you, maybe since the original PlayStation, because I never, like, when I looked at Grand Theft Auto, I'd never seen a game like that. But I've never seen that level of innovation in PlayStation before. So it has me really, really excited. So that's what those two consoles, that's what those two gaming companies mean to me. Like, looking down through the years. Yeah. Big extensive story, I don't know if you. But yeah, it's good though. You know, I always say I like to share my passion of video games with the whole wide world. It isn't just through live streams that I share my passion of video games with the whole wide world. I like to go back in time and tell these stories of the first time I've played PlayStation or Nintendo, and, you know, what these gaming companies mean to me. Like, why do I buy PlayStation? Why do I buy Nintendo? And I think I've extensively explained. Not a few games that I'd failed to mention when I mentioned PlayStation actually was like, you know, like Crash Bandicoot and Spyro the Dragon. More so Spyro the Dragon, of course, than Crash Bandicoot. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater. And it's amazing to see those games are back, all from Activision as well. They're all back now and going into PS5 with those, and Streets of Rage as well, like that, because a lot of games came from Sega Mega Drive, because Sega obviously stopped making consoles after the Dreamcast, so it's great that they're still around bringing Sonic games to Nintendo and PlayStation. So Streets of Rage is back as well. So going into PlayStation 5 with those games being back, combined with the innovation, I'm telling you for a fucking fact, like, the PS5 is going to become my fucking main console. I'm telling you, man. And that's not a jab at Nintendo. That's not me saying, like, I'm not going to play Nintendo. I think it's going to... I think I'm going home. I know PlayStation has their own slogan with PS5. Play has no limits. Or is it play has no limit or play has no limits? Play has no limits. For me is, I'm going home to PlayStation. I don't mean that in a console war, like bash Nintendo kind of way. I just mean it in terms of what it is. I mean, like, I played PlayStation alongside Nintendo 64. I played PlayStation 2 alongside GameCube, and I think that I'm going to play PS5 alongside Switch and the upgraded Switch. I just really feel that way about PS5. It's just the perfect built console. It's going to have everything that you need. Like, that DualSense controller is out of this world, and it's not just a gimmick. It's going to actually affect how you interact with the game. Like, long gone.
I hope they make a new handheld.
They wouldn't, Chad. The Switch is a handheld, and if you don't feel the Switch is a handheld, that's why they have a Switch Lite. Nintendo are not going to go back and make handhelds. They don't need to go back and make handhelds. Well, you mean PlayStation or Nintendo here now? Sony will never make another handheld ever again. That's not going to happen. They will leave Nintendo have that market. Nobody can compete with Nintendo in terms of the handheld market. So you may like if Sony made a handheld, but
Switch doesn't have the features of the PS Vita.
It's because it's not a Vita. Like a lot of to be honest, the features of the Vita are maybe the reasons why the Vita was held back. Because maybe they were focusing too much on all these really advanced features like 4G connectivity and everything, and partnering with Vodafone instead of actually delivering quality games. And that's what actually held the Vita back, was games. And everyone says that, like, you know, there was nothing wrong with the Vita in terms of its hardware, in terms of its features, but I think a lot of it held it back. You know, it didn't have a whole lot of, you know, engaging games, to be honest with you. But yeah, don't hold your breath for a Sony handheld anytime soon, Chad. Don't. I mean, I could be wrong. They could announce it tomorrow. It could coincide with the PS5. I have no idea, but I just think it's not very smart to compete with Nintendo and the handheld market.
I mean, like trophies, voice chat, web browser, themes, basic stuff.
Yeah, but Chad, it's about, like, you can do all that on a console. Like, it's a handheld. Like, what's so special about getting a trophy when you're on the go? Like, it's about playing the game on the go. It's about being able to play like a game like God of War on the go, or being able to play like Spider-Man on the go. Like, it's not so much about like the features. You know, like, that's not what makes a handheld a handheld. What makes a handheld is portability in terms of its design, in terms of its battery life, also in terms of its connectivity, and like Wi-Fi and stuff like that. Like, those are all the features that actually matter when it comes to a handheld. And again, like, you have to have a stellar lineup of games to go along with it. Like, I don't think features come into it, to be honest with you. At the end of the day, I don't think they come into it. That's just my opinion. I never actually had a Vita. I played a Vita, never had it though. I played a PSP for a while, never had either. But yeah. I think the handheld market is an interesting one now from the point of view of gaming, because like there's no such thing as a handheld as such. Well, the Switch Lite will act as a handheld, yes, but I think the Switch is a very different type of introduces a completely different type of gaming ecosystem, so to speak. You know, so it's a hybrid. But I'm hyped now for tomorrow, for the PS5 showcase, because long gone are the days of graphics being the main selling point of PlayStation. Like, don't expect to, like when the PS3 and PS4 were being launched, like, people were like banging on about, like, you know, oh, look at Kratos' shiny head in HD, and oh, now it's in 4K. Like, games will look fantastic on PS5, don't get me wrong, but it's not just that anymore. Like, I don't think anybody is going to be like saying like, I don't think anybody is going to say like, oh, this game is going to look great on PS5 and trash on Xbox or trash on Switch. I think what people are going to be saying is like, this game is going to fucking play amazingly well on PS5 because of the DualSense, because of the fact that it's got 3D audio, the fact that it's got no loading times. Those are going to be the issues. Those are going to be the things that are going to make that console superior. You know, like, when the PS3 came out, like, and, you know, compared to the Wii, like, you know, like, if I had, which I did, have Black Ops on the Wii, and I knew somebody who had it on the PS3, like they will turn out and say like, oh my god, like your version of Black Ops looks shit, like, you know, PS3 is better because of this. Like, it's going to be different with PS5. Like, what's going to make the PS5 a superior console is because of its innovation, like true innovation. Like Chad, you brought up earlier PlayStation Move and Xbox's Kinect. Like, they were just 100% like gimmicks. Like, they didn't, like, PlayStation Move didn't benefit a game like Uncharted or The Last of Us. Do you get me? It was a side project, it was a gimmick, it was just a way of making quick money to try to compete with the Wii. Whereas the true innovation of the DualSense in terms of haptic feedback and adaptive triggers and the microphone and the motion control and the no loading times and the 3D audio, all of those things will actually benefit the next, like, the Ratchet and Clank game. It will benefit the next Spider-Man game. It will benefit the next Horizon game. It will benefit, you know, if we get another God of War game. The innovation will actually like benefit their big games. And again, it's the games that matter. So you're going to get all those great games, but they're going to be enhanced by the actual innovation of the PS5. So again, like, you look back to PS3 with PlayStation Now, or not PlayStation Now, PlayStation Move, they didn't really do a whole lot. Like, I mean, I'm pretty sure there is no PlayStation Move compatibility in any of those games, to my knowledge. Do you get me? So those were just pure gimmicks, and that's what I'm saying. That's what I love about the PS5 is it isn't just a quick kind of like gimmick. It isn't just some sort of kind of, you know, quick kind of like cash grab for them. Like, you know, this is true innovation, and it will truly benefit the console and the games that go along with it. And it's what really sets it apart from previous consoles. Like, if you look at the development of PlayStation over the years, like when they first came along in the early 90s, PlayStation 1, like, it had amazing looking games. It allowed amazing like 3D worlds to be created. Like, you had games like Tomb Raider and Resident Evil, Grand Theft Auto, so many other games that were quite simply only possible on PlayStation, could not be replicated on any other console. And then from there onwards, it just kind of played it safe. Like, PS2 were like, okay, now we can bring Grand Theft Auto into an even better 3D world that looks better, which I loved, by the way. But then it became the norm. Like, it became the norm. This is what we kind of expected from PlayStation, and everything was just played safe. Like, PS3 came along and it was like, okay, now we're going to give you GTA 4, and we're going to give you more detailed characters, and they're going to look better. And that's kind of, you know, that's kind of where it started, really. Like, you know, in terms of how I felt anyway about PlayStation, in terms of playing it safe. Like, it was like, okay, now the games are going to look better. They're going to look better. I'm not saying that the engines didn't improve and that the games didn't play better, but the focus was, like, the focus of PS3 was HD gaming. It's one of its biggest focus. Like, the Blu-ray technology of PS3 was its biggest innovation, which was nearly increasing the resolution of your games. But as far as the controller was concerned, it was pretty much the same controller that people were holding since the PS1 days. Amazing games were released on PS3. Games like Uncharted and games like The Last of Us. Games that still hold the test of time to this day. But as far as like the unique selling point of the console of PS3 was just following on from PS2 in terms of improving the look of the game. You know, the console itself was just like it was a box. Like even in terms of cosmetics, like, you know, it was a box and it had chips inside it that made your games look better. And that's kind of where it ended. Like, and PS4 then just basically just kind of picked up where the PS3 left off and said, okay, well, now we're going to make the games look even better. You know, the controller again was pretty much, well, the controller was a little bit different, to be fair. PS3 4 controller had, you know, the different designs in terms of the analogs and obviously the touchpad. But overall, you know, it was still the DualShock 4. But it was still kind of like playing it safe in terms of just improving the specs and improving the visuals and graphics and stuff like that. And, you know, people were getting excited because they could see like more grains of grass on the next face of the game. You know what I mean? Or you could see like the glands of sweat coming off some bald head. Like, you know, that was the buzz of PS4 in terms of its console. Obviously, again, great games are released on the PS4. I have one right now, like, you know. So I obviously bought one, but what I like about PS5 is the fact that it's not playing it safe. It's not just giving you another box. Like, let's look at how the PS5 is designed. It is one of the best looking consoles, if not the best looking consoles ever designed. Like, it's the first time that they've really looked at the actual design of the console cosmetically and made it look really different and really cool looking. And in terms of, like, again, like not playing it safe in terms of like what they can offer, like no loading times, never been done before. Being able to, you know, the process of putting your game into the console and playing it dramatically shortened. You know, 3D audio, like the sounds, the sound effects, the soundtrack, all that kind of stuff, yeah, drastically enhanced. And then, like, that's just from the point of view of what's inside the console. But then the controller itself with the haptic feedback, which basically allows you to replicate surfaces of the game. Like, it's hard to describe what that actually means, like, but it's basically like a completely like next generation version of the DualShock vibration that you'll be used to from like PS1 up to PS4. And then you have the adaptive triggers, which will basically mean that if, for whatever reason, the game wanted to do it, your analog stick would be locked, or to be harder to press in the trigger. Which, like, you know, one of the words that gets used a lot, there's two words that get used a lot, yeah, in a lot of businesses and entertainment industry, and that's innovative and immersive. I think that kind of technology just sings innovation, sings immersive. You know, because if you're playing a game, and this has been confirmed, by the way, I think it's in a few games. Katana, hello. Oh, I didn't need to retract your comment. I can't pronounce your name. Vivian. Yeah, Vivian. Vivian, welcome to Green-HillGaming. I'm currently in a very long chat there about why I like PS5 so much. But you're very welcome to the live stream, Vivian. Thanks so much for dropping by. How are you keeping? So, like, in terms of immersion and innovation, it's confirmed that I think Deathloop there's going to be a moment in it where your character's gun will jam. So on the screen, like in 4K visuals, which again the games are going to look amazing, with 3D audio, seeing that gun jam will actually be replicated on the controller. So when you're holding the controller in your hand, the trigger will jam as well. So that is another layer apart from the game looking amazing on the screen, it'll be another layer of immersion into the game itself. And obviously then it has motion control as well, and a speaker. So that is just like so innovative compared to just coming out there with a big sheet of specs and saying, yeah, we're going to be better than the PS3. Yeah, we're going to be better than the PS4. Buy our console. Yeah, we're going to have Call of Duty on it. Yeah, we're going to have Battlefield on it. You know, like it's just so much. It's the most innovative PS5 that I've ever seen. Sorry, it's the most innovative PlayStation that I've ever seen. Hands down. Like it does far more than just saying, here's the PlayStation in HD. Or here's a PlayStation that will make character models look like they're real. It's just really innovative, it's really immersive, and it's really different. You'd be mistaken for thinking that it isn't a PlayStation, to be honest with you, especially considering it's the first time they've actually changed the design of the PS5 controller. Like, they're going down a bold road. They're not playing it safe. They're doing the opposite of playing it safe, and they're standing by it, and they know they're going to get people that are like going to be looking at it and going to be saying, "Is this for me?" I don't know. It's a question that they have to ask themselves, really. But I can tell you one thing: it's definitely for me. It's what I've been asking for a long, long time. It's different, and it's proud to be different, and you know, it's different in a good way. Like, it's different in a good way. It's going to have everything. Like, it literally is going to have everything. You're going to have like games that are going to be like native 4K on this console. Like, it's not an upscale or an upgrade. The console is designed, built from the ground up to support 4K visuals. So you're going to have that amazing visual games. Don't get me wrong. But on top of it all, like while all this is going on, you're going to have a completely different way to, you know, to control your games. So it is just the perfect built console. I'm fucking hyped for tomorrow, not to be honest with you. So, yeah, going forward in my gaming life, Nintendo, PlayStation, that's where it's at for me. And of course retro consoles as well, but I've actually got to go back and play some, to be honest with you. But Microsoft, I don't mean it in a, again, like I don't mean to be kind of, you know, igniting any console wars here, but I've never really had time for Xbox, to be honest with you. It's never been a console that I've actively played, like, you know. I don't see the huge appeal of, like, especially nowadays, I don't see the big huge appeal of Xbox Live. Like I'm not going to go out in 2020, yeah, and beyond, and buy an Xbox just because of Xbox Live. I don't see no difference between Xbox Live and any other online service, whether it's Nintendo or PlayStation. Literally. Now, I know people will say, oh, it's much more stable. I would doubt that, to be honest with you. It's just a brand thing, like, you know, Xbox Live, because it's been around for a while, you see. So people are like, oh, it's the brand, but it's definitely not going to be a feature that I would actually go out and buy an Xbox for. Definitely not, like. And as far as their many different confusing subscriptions are concerned, the Xbox Pass, I believe that's their, so I don't even know which is which, to be honest with you. They've got Xbox Pass, and obviously they got Xcloud as well. I don't basically see a point in that, to be honest. So there's nothing really about, and as far as their first party games are concerned, I've literally, I think I played Gears of War for like a few minutes, but I literally have had no major interaction with any of their first party games. So with Xbox, there is nothing there that appeals me to them. I mean, I'm not going to go out and buy an Xbox for a third party again because I have a PS4 and I have a Switch and I'm going to be getting the next PlayStation. So I'm definitely not going to buy an Xbox for third party games. Like 100% not like. So that's it now. I think to have 3 consoles, you'd have to be kind of making a statement. Like you'd have to be kind of like you're the person who wants all the consoles. You know, either to collect them or, you know, either like you just want to play every single game, like you want to play all the Xbox games, all the Nintendo games, all the PlayStation games. But yeah, Xbox has never really had a place. But again, that's not a bash at Microsoft. It's not a bash at Phil Spencer. I mean, I will, and I have bashed Phil Spencer and Xbox in terms of the issue. Okay, I'll actually go back to the very start. Okay. Issue I have with
Game reviewer.
Game reviewer. The issue I have with, and this is like criticism. It's not like, you know, because there's a difference between criticizing something and sending someone fucking death threats. You know what I mean? Oh, I hate Xbox, therefore I want you to die. Like, that's a bit extreme, to say the least. I think I started.
Xbox brought the PC games to consoles.
Well, okay, let's start with that. Will we? Let's start with that point. Let's just use that point. So Xbox wants you to buy their next Xbox console, but at the same time they're telling you that you can play all their Xbox games on PC. So what's the point? What's the point of buying the console if you can play all their games on PC? So I like to start with that point. But the other point I wanted to make is Microsoft have always struggled to break into the Japanese market, which is, for all intents and purposes, the
Emoji rolling on the floor laughing.
For all intents and purposes, is the home of gaming. Phil Spencer and Xbox hasn't done enough. They have not done enough to secure any real significant partnerships between Japanese developers, which is why you see a lot of Japanese games coming to PS4 and Switch and not coming to Xbox. So it's something that they've never really done, so I am criticizing them in that area. They've never really been big in there was actually a funny stat actually involving Xbox sales in Japan compared to other, I forget what it is, but it's very funny. So yeah, Xbox have desperately failed to get a market in Japan. No, this is a more recent analogy that I've actually found with Xbox, and it involves Phil Spencer's like need. I'd even use that word need, because he seems to do it in every single like public interview he ever finds himself in. Like, let's remind ourselves who Phil Spencer is, shall we? He is head of Xbox. Head of Xbox. Not a rep, not a community manager, not a social media guy for Xbox, not a game tester. He is head of Xbox. That's Phil Spencer. Phil Spencer is in a public interview. He is speaking for the Xbox brand. He is promoting the Xbox brand. He is speaking for the Xbox brand, and he is convincing the Xbox market to continue supporting the Xbox brand, and he is speaking to potentially new customers to jump on board the Xbox brand. But he seems to have this need every single time. Like, I remember watching many interviews.
Good old Philly.
Good old Philly Spencer. I remember watching many interviews with Phil Spencer talking about the Xbox Series, fucking hell, what the fuck, the Xbox One X, yeah? And instead of speaking for the Xbox brand and hyping it up and selling it and convincing customers to buy Xbox and support Xbox and support their first party lineup, and here's why you should buy an Xbox and here's why you should continue playing Xbox, he has the need to start bringing Nintendo up. Like, the interviewer was like, so Phil, what are your thoughts on the Xbox One X? You know, why should I buy it? Well, you know, before I get, no, I'm being sarcastic, but there's actually really like a lot of truth to my sarcasm, because he literally speaks about Nintendo, and he literally talks about their first party lineup and how great they are and everything. But he's like, well, before we talk about Xbox One, let's talk about Nintendo and how they have got an amazing first party lineup. I love Nintendo. Like, what if somebody is on the fence watching their interview? They don't have a Nintendo console, they don't have an Xbox console, and they're on the fence between Nintendo and Xbox. And they've heard so much bad things about Microsoft. And this guy's like, Nintendo has a great first party lineup. They're a great company. I love Nintendo. What if he just tunes out and says, okay, I'll buy Nintendo then? Isn't that a good point, Chad? Isn't that a good point that I just made there? Is he doing a good job? Is Phil Spencer doing a good job convincing people to buy Xbox by praising his competition in a public interview? If he wants to praise Nintendo in the pub with his mates, that's fine. But if you're the public head, the face of Xbox, and you're in a public interview with like IGN, and you're launching a new Xbox, and the only thing you can talk about is how great your competition is, you're not doing a good job, in my books. So that's why I criticize Xbox and Phil Spencer. We all know Nintendo are a good company. We all know they've got a great first party lineup. But again, if you're Phil Spencer, head of Xbox, you don't take public time out to praise your competition. You just don't do that. Do it on social media in your own time.
He praised the new God of War game too.
He did, yeah. He did, but every opportunity he gets, he seems to talk about Nintendo. But he has praised God of War many times, and he's praised Naughty Dog as well. But anyway, I've said that. And more recently, he's really taken the piss. It's one thing being interviewed by IGN, you know, about the Xbox One X at the time, and to start talking about like. But can you see the point I'm making, Chad? Though, can you see the point I am trying to make? What if Billy, what if little Billy, has a PlayStation 4, but he wants to buy a second console, and little Billy is on the fence between whether he should buy an Xbox or whether he should buy a Nintendo. And he's watching this IGN interview with head of Xbox, Phil Spencer, talking about the next Xbox. And he's like, oh, well, maybe I'll watch this and maybe he'll convince me to buy an Xbox. And he spends more time in the interview talking about Nintendo and how great of a company Nintendo is. And they've got Mario, Zelda, Metroid, all these amazing exclusive first-party games. Nintendo are so great, I love Nintendo. And then just like casually talks about like Xbox for a while. Like, what if little Billy says, yeah, I actually seen a few videos actually of Nintendo games and Mario and Zelda. Yeah, I'm going to get Nintendo. Do you think that Phil Spencer is doing a good job by doing that? I don't think he is. I don't think for 1 second he is. Like, he needs to be convincing Billy that Xbox is the place to be. No other company matters. Xbox is the place to be. if you want to have a conversation about we're all gamers, we're all part of the same industry, we all should play Mario, we all should play God of War, we all should play Halo, you do that in your own time. Let's say social media, let's say a gaming event or something like that. But if you're there as head of Xbox promoting your product, like I'm not even like, I don't even know next to anything about like marketing or businesses, but that's literally common sense in my book. You don't start talking about your competition's product. You talk about your product and when you should have your consumers, you know, right at your doorstep to buy your product. And he doesn't do that. So what are your thoughts on that, chat? What are your thoughts, apart from good old Philly, what are your thoughts on that? Because I think it's really stupid of Phil Spencer. Now, more recently, with the launch of their, like actually, like, there's one thing talking about an upgrade to the Xbox One, but Phil Spencer is still head of Xbox and he's launching their next generation Xbox. And all eyes and air are on Phil Spencer right now with the next Xbox. Recently, not only did he say that the next Halo will not be launching on the next generation Xbox, and prior to that he said don't expect any exclusives for at least a year, he decides to show up on an Animal Crossing podcast and again praise Nintendo and their first party lineup.
Phil needs to go.
Like, he does need to go. He definitely needs to go. Like, again, if you have little Billy who's thinking about getting the next Xbox, or else getting, or maybe he heard rumours and reports that there's going to be a 4K upgraded Switch coming out at the start of next year. And he's kind of on the fence whether he should play Nintendo. He heard a few things about Animal Crossing and he doesn't know whether to get Animal Crossing or not. And he watches Phil Spencer, head of Xbox, you know, months away from the next Xbox releasing, and he's playing Animal Crossing. And he's talking about how great Nintendo is. And Billy again is like, oh, that's that guy that was, this is that guy that was talking about Nintendo a couple of years back. And
Microsoft should have bought Sega, BioWare, Bungie, and Bethesda years ago.
And here he is talking about Animal Crossing and how playing Animal Crossing for that matter, and again praise Nintendo. So little Billy could turn around and say, that game looks so much fun, thanks Phil. Thanks for convincing me to buy Animal Crossing and to hold off until the upgraded 4K Switch so I can play Animal Crossing on 4K. Like, if anything, Phil Spencer is going to convince people to buy Nintendo and Nintendo hardware. You'd almost think there was some sort of a conspiracy going on, like where Phil Spencer is actually like secretly, covertly working for Nintendo. You know, because he could have fooled me, to be honest. So I just think that Phil Spencer should definitely go. I think he's doing a terrible job convincing potential consumers to support Microsoft, to buy Microsoft, to buy Xbox products, to buy the next Xbox console. Terrible job. Absolutely terrible job. It really is like, it's like fucking head of Xbox, like, and he's banging on about his competition.
Philly going to replace Doug Bowser.
Potentially. Listen, I don't think, you see, you're looking at it all wrong, Chad.
Elbow cough.
You're looking at it all wrong. It's got nothing to do with Xbox bringing PC games to consoles. It's got nothing to do with their Game Pass. It's got nothing to do with Microsoft buying out companies. Microsoft could buy out Sega right now. They could buy out BioWare, Bungie, they could buy out all those companies. But if Phil Spencer is going to be sitting and playing Animal Crossing and talking about how great Nintendo is, instead of talking about Sega BioWare, Bungie and Bethesda, it's not going to make a damn difference. It's not going to make a damn fucking difference what companies he buys out. At the end of the day, it's not going to make a damn difference. This is head of Xbox. He needs to start talking about Xbox and convincing people to buy Xbox. The only people, in my opinion, that are going to go out and buy the Xbox Series consoles are going to be its die-hard fan base, but it's going to be limited to that number. But like, that's not going to be enough, because consoles don't become a success because of the fan base. They become a success because of new consumers, and that is something that Nintendo has actually excelled at this generation. So many people who've never even considered Nintendo, or their games for that matter, have all jumped on board with the Switch, because Nintendo have done a tremendous job promoting and advertising the Switch, and very carefully communicating the unique selling point of the Switch and its software very effectively to all consumers, not just the die-hard Nintendo fan base, but new fan base. I've seen people play Animal Crossing who've never in their life heard of Animal Crossing before. You know, I'm talking about like fucking like men and women in their fucking like late 30s, older than me, like playing Animal Crossing, never played it before, and it's become a tremendous sales success as well. Along with many other games like Mario Kart, people playing Mario Kart for the first time, because Nintendo took the time to promote their console and to advertise their console, the strengths of that console, what makes that console so good, why you should buy that console. Nintendo didn't start talking about you should buy a Switch because the PlayStation is so great, or you should buy a Switch because Microsoft is so great. It's daft, it's ridiculous. It's a bit like if Nintendo had said, you know, oh, you want me to talk about Switch? Well, before I talk about Switch, I'm going to talk about how amazing Angry Birds is on the Apple iPhone. You know, kind of the same thing really, if he had done that, like, if he had done that. So, yeah, Phil Spencer is only holding back the Xbox brand, if you ask me. Someone needs to come along and just, like, and don't get me wrong, like, there's nobody saying there has to be a console war. There's nobody saying that Phil Spencer can't like Nintendo or can't play Animal Crossing.
I'm home today, may have the COVID lie.
Ha! Really? Oh man. Hardly. And welcome to the late night live stream, by the way. I'm more or less wrapping it up there actually. Just having a late night conversation there about how Phil Spencer from Microsoft should go, because he's holding back Xbox in every sense of the word. So you think you have COVID? Good God. Hopefully not, hopefully not.
Just throwing a sickie.
Oh, good stuff, man.
It's the Aussie way.
Good stuff. You're right too, man. You're right too. So yeah, I think there's a time and a place to, like, to kind of acknowledge that we're all gamers, and that, because we're all gamers. I think it was a great moment at the Game Awards a couple of years back when the three people from Sony, Nintendo, and Microsoft all came together. But there's a time and a place for that. You know, there's a time and a place for that. You have to kind of keep your kind of like, if you're going to be interviewed and you're head of Xbox and you're months away from the launch of a next Xbox console, you need to start to acknowledge the fact.
Bring back the days of the Master System.
my first console. That was my first console. That was my first console actually. But yeah, like you need to kind of like switch on. You know, when you're interviewed like that, you need to switch on. You're head of Xbox, you're promoting Xbox, you have to get people to play your console. Like, if you're not being interviewed and you're kind of, you know, you're
Mine too, the Series 1 version.
at the second one, I think. But if you're out and about, and you're just speaking to people in general, then you can start talking about like how much you like Nintendo and you have the Switch and you like their first party lineup, all that kind of stuff. Then you can start doing that. But I also have another thing that I actually want to end the live stream on. Actually, something I failed to mention. So we all know at this stage that Phil Spencer has like this love for Nintendo. I mean, who doesn't? You know, they're a great company, they make great games, they make great consoles, yeah. But it goes further. Phil Spencer, Xbox, decided to bring games like Cuphead to the Switch. Now this was before it came to PS4 as well, and they brought that Forest game as well and that Tales game, yeah? They all came to Switch.
Ever watched The Angry Video Game Nerd?
No, I heard of them though. And they brought
He's
over
hoping Nintendo will hire him.
They brought over that fucking Viking game where you're playing as a female Viking about the mental health thing as well, yeah? That takes effort. You don't just click your fingers and put a game on consoles. The effort that Phil Spencer and Microsoft went to put those games on Nintendo hardware could have been put into ensuring that a game like Halo runs well on their own console and releases day one on their own console. It could have been put into ensuring that they have a good relationship with their Japanese partners, which they clearly don't. And that effort, all those games that they brought over to the Switch, could have been brand new games from new studios that are exclusive to their console. Do you get me? Do you get what I'm saying? Like, he has put more effort into bringing games that were once Xbox exclusives to Switch. I get the fact that the Switch is a really successful console. It continues to sell like hotcakes, a really large install base. I get the fact that Microsoft looked at it from the point of view of they could make more money by putting these games on the console. I get that, but what good is selling these games and making money off these games if you still don't have a...
What's the sell price going to be for the PS5 over in Ireland?
That hasn't been confirmed yet, man. I mean, we can all speculate. That'll be confirmed tomorrow at the PlayStation 5 showcase. It's going to be 9 PM Irish time. We can all speculate, man, but it's completely irrelevant to speculate, like, I mean, because it's not confirmed, like. But it'll be revealed tomorrow at 9 PM. I'm very official about those kind of things. I don't like to speculate in terms of price and stuff like that. We just have to wait and see, like. So with that said, I think I'm going to end the live stream right now. So yeah, it's a great time to be a gamer. It really is.
We're getting Donkey Kong Country 2 and Japan gets Fire Emblem for the online games. Parents may need the Leprechaun's pot of gold to pay for it.
I wouldn't say it's a bit expensive, no. We getting Donkey Kong Country 2 and Japan can keep... Well, thank fuck for that. Japan
$6.99.
It's not going to be $6.99. You've no way of knowing that. Nobody has any way of knowing that. This is all just hearsay.
I think video game systems have gone backwards personally.
Oh, I'd have to disagree with that. I would have to disagree with that on so many levels. And I know I said I was going to end the live stream, but I strongly, and as a gamer that is in his 30s, who has grown up with more or less the foundation of the gaming industry, the first console being Sega Master System, 8-bit graphics, I would have to strongly disagree with you. Just look at the audio of games today. compared to the audio. Now I know people are fans of like chip style music and 8-bit music. I am myself, but just in terms of the quality of the audio, it's like soundtracks, like full-on orchestra soundtracks now, and the voice acting, the cinematics, just the kind of games that you can have today, dramatically moving forward and continuing to move forward. And as I kind of tirelessly explained there for like almost an hour, possibly more, like the PlayStation 5 has the potential.
When I lived in the UK, I remember everyone wanted the Sega CD.
Sega CD. I never had that actually. PlayStation 5 has the potential of being the world's best built console. And I don't mean best built console in terms of the specs.
Still no Earthbound.
Still no Earthbound. I mean that in terms of delivering to you 3D audio for the first time in a PlayStation.
Neo Geo was a fantasy to own.
No loading times. Hey, are you even listening to what I'm saying? Considering that you brought up the point that video games are going backwards personally. Well, you might believe that personally, but here's what I think personally. So maybe you can listen to what I think personally, yeah? No loading times. Never been seen on a PlayStation. Like the haptic feedback of the DualSense controller. Never been seen on a PlayStation. Adaptive triggers. Never been seen.
I'll listen.
Never been seen on a PlayStation. You know, so all of these things move the game forward. Like in Ratchet and Clank, to be able to jump into a rift and have an entire game world just instantly appear on your TV screen without no loading times. That's never been done before. And these aren't gimmicks, like these aren't things that are just about like making a bald head look more baldy.
How about no downloads on Game Pass? Elbow cough.
And what kind of games are there, Chad? Games you've played like tons of times before, really? Because that's what I call lazy, you know. That's lazy. That's a lazy attempt. Definition 101 right there. But no, Adam, I forgot that's your real name, isn't it, Adam? I would have to strongly disagree with you there about games going backwards.
Okay, no load times, but everyone needs unlimited Wi-Fi now for the constant download updates.
But that's not really like backwards.
Yeah, it's Adam.
Yeah, but this, okay. Let's look at it from this point of view, yeah? Let's look at it from this point of view. A game that you buy out of the box today isn't the game that you get in the years to come. A lot of times you can get free updates. Now I know there's DLC, but that's a good thing as well, because you have the option. You have the option of whether you want to, like in Mortal Kombat 11's case, it's now been updated to Mortal Kombat 11 Aftermath, where you can get a brand new cinematic story. You get 3 more characters, you got new stages and friendships, which actually, the friendships and stages are actually free. So because of those updates, you can actually improve the game, you can add more to the game. That wasn't possible back in the day. All you had back in the day were expansion passes, and let's face it, there were very few expansion passes on PlayStation and consoles. Very few. The only one I can think of was GTA London. So there's advantage. I know what you're saying. I hate it too. I hate having to, like, I hate buying a game on PlayStation 4 and just wanting to play it, but I have to just install the fucking thing and update the thing. But Sony have addressed that. They actually addressed that with PlayStation 5, and they've actually reassured people that the process of your game into the console and playing it are more or less kind of
Wish arcades were still around. Oh, the memories.
I know, man. Look, you can't beat nostalgia. You can't beat nostalgia. I think what it comes down to is nostalgia at the end of the day. Like, but I think we have to kind of like look at where gaming is now in a positive way, you know, and see the massive improvement it's made. But I think I've made my guess very clear about how gaming has moved forward, and using the PS5 as the perfect example. You know, if you were talking to me about PS3 and PS4, I probably wouldn't have been able to say very much because, you know,
Does the PS5 have a 4K Blu-ray?
4K Blu-ray, I don't know about that, to be honest with you, but I mean, I don't know. I presume it does have something like that. That's a good question, I don't know. I just know that it's going to load up the games much quicker. Because they're using oh, what are they using again? They're using a different they're using a different optical. Oh, they're using a different form of media to basically like load up the games and stuff. So that's why everything is much quicker and smoother. But if I was talking about PS3 compared to PS2, like even though I was still moving forward, but I don't think that games are going backwards. Like, I don't think games are going backwards. Because if games were going backwards, then they would look, they would look like they did back years ago. They would play like they did years ago. They would sound like they did years ago. So I know you probably have a few points in the point you're trying to make. You know, like, because there used to be a time like where you could. Yeah.
Saw 3 was the bomb in the day. No, it looks horrible.
There are some games that don't, strangely enough, don't hold the test of time when you go back and look at them. But it's funny because I agree with you, because GTA 3 was actually the first PS2 game that I played, and I was blown away by how amazing that game looked. And in terms of what you could do in a 3D world, like being able to
They going backwards with Resident Evil.
I don't even know what that means, to be honest with you. How are they going backwards with Resident? Oh my fucking god! Is he for real? All right, so you okay? So you think that Taken, even though I'm not a fan, no, because you're making a very stupid statement. I know I have to say. So
Elbow cough.
So you think that taking a third-person survival horror zombie game into a first-person...
Those movies too were terrible.
A first-person, action-orientated, even though I'm not a fan of it, action-orientated, like paranormal, like werewolf game. You think that's going backwards? So just think of the original.
I like the way you say third. It sounds like turd.
So you think they're taking, if you look at the original Resident Evil and you compare it to Resident Evil 8, or Village, you think that it's gone backwards? I would strongly disagree with that, even though I'm not a fan of the action, you know. But like Resident Evil 5 and 6 like took the series into a completely different area, to be honest with you. But I think honestly, like it's I actually don't appreciate enough how far gaming has come. Really don't.
It needs more action.
I think no, it doesn't. It has enough action as it is. It's a great time to be a gamer.
And explosives. Which movie do you prefer, Street Fighter or Mortal Kombat?
Oh god, Mortal Kombat in a heartbeat. In a heartbeat, Mortal Kombat, every time. No ifs, buts about it. No but this or but that, or should've, could've, would've, or but you know, if you look at it this way and you look at it that way, and this person was meant to be in this movie, and that there's no debating it. There is no debating it. I'm all for having a debate, but there is no debate. It's Mortal Kombat every time. It doesn't matter if your entire family works in the movie.
Saw them both at the cinemas.
It doesn't matter if like you're the most biggest Street Fighter fan of the world. It doesn't matter if you're fucking M. Bison himself. it doesn't matter. Mortal Kombat every time, hands down about that. But yeah, just to look at a game like Mortal Kombat 11,
Rip Raul Julia.
and just oh definitely, just to see the detail on the fighters, on the character models, and it's hard to take it in really. If you just, what I'd love to do, actually, what I'd love to do at some stage in time.
I heard Van Damme booked Kylie Minogue.
Possibly, but here.
But have you played Street Fighter Movie the game on PS1?
No, I'm not going to go near that game, to be honest with you. I've seen and heard enough of that game, to be honest with you. Now, what I was going to say is, I'd love sometime if I could put two TVs together, like my main TV and another TV, and just every now and again, just like turn on the original Mortal Kombat, and then play the latest Mortal Kombat, so I can just see right there in front of me just how far gaming has come in every sense, the audio, the visuals, the gameplay. Because so much has changed, you know, in a very positive way. I know sometimes it's frustrating when you have to update your games and other stuff like that. And you know, I know sometimes it's frustrating when you pay full price for a game and you know you're being pushed microtransactions at you at every opportunity. That can be frustrating, and all the different things that go along with it, you know. But I think overall, like, I mean, we've come a long way from Pong. We've come a long way from Space Invaders. We've come a long way from Pac-Man, you know. We've come a long way from Mario, and we've come a long way from a lot of games. I mean, even like if you look at Resident Evil and compare it to the latest Resident Evil, you know, we've come a long way, you know, in every shape and form. And yeah, so the future of gaming is very bright. But I think this generation, like, well, technically the next generation,
The Wesker kids.
I think that, and I've said it before now in many of my previous live streams, I feel that Sony are leading the charge in terms of bringing gaming into the future, by really going all out with innovation that literally changes how you play the game. Like, yeah, it's going to be really interesting. So with that said, I am going to get some much needed sleep, and I'll thank everyone who watched the live stream. One second there now. Stream is buffering
Elbow
there for
cough.
a second. But yeah, so thank you to all who watched. Thanks for watching my Mortal Kombat 11 gameplay, and for listening to my, you know, feedback on all things PlayStation and Nintendo and the future of gaming and all that kind of stuff. So thanks for listening and watching, and I will see you
All
next
good,
time.
Johnny. Sweet dreams. Don't let the bed bugs bite.
I'll try not to, man. You as well, man. And I will talk to you next time.